it's really about going way beyond addiction. It's about giving people something they never dreamed was possible. And it's not actually that we're giving it, it's that people are beginning to choose it. I've been a psychotherapist for about 18 years, and with a specialty in addiction. And before I found Access and the Access tools, I looked at a lot of different modalities because none of them really seemed to do that much. I mean, they helped people to stop doing the drinking or stop doing the rescuing, but at a huge cost of how much they had to practice and do stuff every day, what they were obligated to, and it just didn't work for me. I had my own issues with addiction. I was what I would have considered an alcoholic.
What is Access?
Well, one of the things I love about Access is that it's kind of undefinable. I look at it as a set of tools that you can use to change anything about your life. I mean, literally anything about your life. And it has changed my life dramatically, really, in ways I never imagined possible.
Could you just tell me a little bit about your addiction?
I had an addiction to alcohol, or that's how it was described. That's what I believed. I believed I was powerless over alcohol. What I've come to understand about addiction is it's not, you can say, well, I have addiction to alcohol, or I have addiction to trees, or I have addiction to shopping, or to food, or whatever it is. All of those are interchangeable. It's not that that actually has power over you in any way. It's that you've cut off so much of you that you're not even present to be the power and the potency that you are. For most of the people that I've worked with who come and say, I have a problem with this, I have an addiction, they're really trying to get some kind of power or relief or something from that substance or process. Either they're looking to escape their life or they're looking to feel that they're more powerful. So they feel inadequate. And I felt completely inadequate. And, you know, just not drinking was not enough for me. I wanted more.
Yeah.
I wanted to really create a life. I wanted to know what else was possible. And I didn't get that from either psychotherapy or the traditional programs.
Okay. Talk a little bit about traditional definitions of addiction, what most people think addiction is.
Okay, what most people think addiction is something like being out of control, having a compulsion to do something or imbibe something like alcohol, that they don't feel that they can stop. They feel like whatever the addiction is has control or power over them, and that they don't have the power or control. And that's the experience people have. Now, it's not actually true, but that's how people experience it. They don't realize that they actually do have choice. Now, does that mean that most people could stop immediately? No. But there are things that they can do to regain more and more of them so that the addiction becomes a non-item in their life. And that's what I try to do, is empower people so that it's not that they're fighting their addiction ever. Because how well does fighting something work? The more you resist something, the more it's in your life. It's more that it becomes a non sequitur. It becomes something that's irrelevant to you. Or it becomes something that they can have a choice, but they don't have to have.
How does this work where people lose parts of themselves, which you're talking about?
Well,
what's that?
Okay, so a lot of times as kids, you know, if you've ever seen an infant, they're like totally joyful, self-centered, me, I'm crying, you know, work on me. And as we grow up, a lot of people experience that they're like just hysterically, wonderfully joyful, and they're told, shh, you're upsetting your father, or you're too much for your mother to handle, or don't be so smart, or don't be like that. And kids know intuitively that the only way they're going to survive is if they make their parents happy. Because you cannot go out on your own at 4 or 5 or 6 and be okay. You just can't. So you go, okay, joy's not okay. Being loud is not okay. Being smart is not okay. Running around is not okay. What do I need to do? I need to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And I can't be that, and I can't be this, and I can't be that. And if I want to survive, I've got to, okay, what's going to, okay, mom is really happy if I come home and I'm quiet and I study. Okay, good. Dad is happy if I wear a pretty dress. Never mind that what I really want to do is climb trees. So we start cutting off parts of ourselves, not being who we are. And we start bending ourselves and twisting ourselves into be what other people want to be until very little of us is left. I mean, if you take anything, if you take an orange and you go, okay, well, you can't have this round shape over here, take that away. You can't have this color, take that away. I mean, what gets left? You get something that's not, doesn't even look like what it is. And so we can end up that way pretty easily. And then we're looking for something to either get us out of what we've decided is a terrible reality, a terrible life, or to make us feel stronger. I mean, I've had a lot of people say, boy, when I discovered alcohol, I felt normal for the first time. And what they really meant was, wow, suddenly I felt like with using alcohol, I felt like I could fit in this life. I could be like everybody else, and I never was like everybody else. So it's a way to try to cope.
Can people be addicted without realizing they're addicted, or do they always know?
No, they don't always know. They generally know or begin to know if it's something obvious, like alcohol or drugs or cigarettes or food. But there are many addictions that are rather subtle. And there are many addictions that are actually considered positive in our culture. Addiction to working, addiction to making money, addiction to exercise and what's called health, which is really about imposing different things on your body rather than being totally healthy. Addiction to always being there for others and helping people. So there are actually quite a number of addictions that are not so obvious. I mean, people can be addicted to the wrongness of them. They can be addicted to being in judgment, which actually hurts them enormously. They can be addicted to perfectionism. So there are actually quite a few addictions that people may or may not be aware of that are actually running their lives and preventing them from having the choices they might like to have. Because what happens with something like that, if you have an addiction to helping others, it may be, suppose you're an artist and you get a call to do a great project, and then and you're feeling really generative and you can see it and you're in the zone and you're about to go there, and someone calls you and says, I broke my leg, can you come over right now and take care of my children for the next 3 weeks? If you actually have that addiction, you'll go and do that and your project will just be left in the dust. So that you don't actually have a choice, and that's what it's all about. If you have places in your life with no choice, that's a place where a place of addiction actually exists.
Where would people begin to look to see if they had an addiction? How would they come to some sort of awareness that there was something running their life?
Well, they start asking questions. And the questions would be something like, okay, is there any time or any place in my life where I actually feel I don't have choice? If my husband or my wife or my boss or someone asks me to do something, do I feel that I have choice? If I'm out to eat and somebody offers me something, do I feel that I have choice? If I have a stressful day, that's a great place to go to. Do I feel that I actually have choice in how I choose to deal with that? Or is there something I'm compelled to do at the end of the stressful day? So you just...
The addictions never seem to me to be anything to do with choice. It's sort of like the drug or the alcohol has control over you. How do you choose your way out of addiction? How does choice...
You choose your way out in a number of ways. One is to recognize, to be willing to have something greater. You have to choose first to have something greater, to have you back. Without that, it's never going to work. And it's a kind of a demand you make of yourself. No matter what it takes, I'm changing this. Now the interesting thing is, that can look a lot of different ways. I've said that in a class, and people assume I mean that you're going to stop using it. No, I mean it's going to change. So I had a client who was drinking, and she said, no matter what it takes, I'm changing this. She came back in the next week, and she said, you know what? I went and had a couple margaritas. I realized I don't actually like the taste of alcohol. That was her change, and that was her key to beginning to change her life in a way that she really desired to change it.